I
Overlay
suppose
what?
you guys can get started. We've all agreed that we'll be back. We'll be back. I suppose we should figure out what day in January.
Yes.
The internet also agrees we should be back.
Is it?
So I guess first off, is the current day of the week and time? It's fine for me. Is it still good for everybody? Like that is generally a good time.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Still good for me.
All right.
My brain slowly catching up with my thoughts. What do you want to see out of season 2, and what changes would you like to have made about season 1? What did you like? What didn't you like? I hope that I delivered on all of your asks. It was generic. It had dragons. It had airships. There were no lasers or laser swords.
For space. I would like more description of like the sword battles. I think that'd be really good.
I don't know that there were very many swords employed. There were a lot of daggers. I don't know that there were many swords. There was intense discussion of great sorting. Okay, I know you're trolling me, but just know I was very descriptive about the Dark Souls style two-handing of the knight, Sir Riboflavin, which is not his word. His name.
Just on a side note, I've been watching Jill Birup's Fantasy Heroine series on YouTube this morning. Is everyone familiar with her at all?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe but that's fine.
Okay. No worries. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's. I think she's a stunt woman that does sort of play stuff in Ireland or something. But she has a YouTube series too. But, yeah.
Put it in the Discord. I got an hour flight to get through.
So I guess this is not my feedback. I guess this comes from the conversation we had with Rad AP, where Rad disengaged because of the single word.
That's true. And my smugness. Let's be very clear. A lot of it was my smugness, but yes. I don't know that I want to. I mean, I stopped doing those in the last 2 episodes, but it's my understanding that it did help people to quickly understand and remember what was happening, because I just jumped right back into the show very quickly at the beginning.
It definitely helped me in the beginning for sure.
Yeah, it was nice to have the little mini recaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not like anything lengthy that would take away from our actual playtime.
I mean, look, I don't think I can win folks like Rad back for season 2. Instead, I'm planning to do a more standard, starts with that numbers, that will accommodate ADHD individuals better.
I mean, I feel like you should do whatever feels right to you. Don't worry about, 1 or 2 people.
Well, I mean, I could try to find a positive way to spin what I'm about to say, but I'm feeling less than 100%. This show was basically me like, man, I want to play D&D. Let's tweet about it. And then some people were like, nice. I like that tweet. Yeah. So like, I did the work on this in like 2 days, right? Like this is not a highly planned, intricate operation. I didn't come in here with a lot of ideas. I was just doing my thing, man.
And so now you have a phenomena.
Yeah, the pilot season went really well.
The pilot season? Sorry. What am I, Disney? Can you pilot a season? For what, like Friends?
Sure.
How many shows have enough seasons that you could have a pilot?
We're going to figure that out.
No, we're not. Don't. Stop believing. Stop believing. Let's have realistic expectations.
I think that since we've had 8 episodes was the first season, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think is a relatively short run. It probably doesn't need to have a significant change. Like more of the same might simply be, if it's a format that works and everyone enjoys it. I'd be happy with that, but I don't have any specific things I'd like to change. I gave you some comments before in chat about how maybe to control the sensation of being leveling too fast, because we're sort of playing through every day of the characters' lives. So any sort of progress appears to happen in a very short period of time. Unlike, I guess, a more conventional campaign where you have travel time and downtime and, whether players blue book, etc. Depends on the players. But whether you want a more vignettes of the heroes' lives or literally every single day is probably a discussion to be had.
I kind of like the vignettes. For me personally, I don't like living every single day. It seems kind of monotonous at points. The highlights are nice. I really like the pacing of our first season. So, that's just my opinion.
For what the goal was for the first season, I think there's not a lot we could have changed to make it outcome better than it was. I had a lot of fun with the first season, and I can't think of much more we could really do to improve it. I'll say, like James was saying, we could manage power creep with like magic items and such, but I also saw that we had opportunities for it, but they were all very like double-sided.
First, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the great news is that you have an opportunity now to just, buy things.
Woohoo, shopping.
James has already shopped quite a bit.
Yeah, but I spent all my money on gifts for the other characters, though.
That's true. That's true.
Spent all my money on
And all my money on a cloak.
Yep, on 2 cloaks. One of which is for Godric, and the non-magical one.
Bought a longbow. I don't know. Still have money to burn.
I think I'm sitting with like a little over 200 gold left.
Yeah, I probably have like 100.
I have 7.
I'm sure I could find something for 200 gold that I wanted to pick up, but I just haven't looked yet.
If I can make that Kensei weapon like a +1 magical weapon, that'd be sick, but I know those are pretty expensive.
I think you guys have the money to do that. That, though, takes time.
Yeah.
You have to take it to a wizard, and they, based on the DMG rules, they can do something like 25 gold worth of work on it a day, which means, if it costs 500 to 1,000, you're going to be there for a month or more.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
Which is fine unless your series of 8 episodes takes place over the course of 8 days.
Yeah. So, I feel like the first season was about a existential emergency. And I don't know that we need to keep that sort of reckless pacing. I think maybe we get a chance here. Again, it sounds like you guys didn't mind that, but we have a chance here to slow down and like spend some time traveling, spend some time getting to know the characters. We said for several episodes we were going to confront Bearded about what you saw in the fog with him burning an entire village alive, and no one actually ever got around to that.
Yeah.
There's some shit that happened that we've never actually talked about.
I think it got brought up awkwardly several times and sort of pushed off. Like, we need to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that right now. Okay, let's talk about it later.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to test the character's loyalty before the final mission. You need to make sure that they're still loyal, or else you could lose your half-elven rogue who will betray you if you don't say the right things when you're in the capital city. I'm still mad about Dragon Age all these years later.
Are we talking about Fenris, or are we talking about Zevran?
No, the first one.
Zevran. Okay.
Yeah, Zevran. If you piss Zevran off, he'll just outrightly try to kill you.
I usually just told him, like, are you sure you want to turn around and fight me? And then he would usually turn around and be like, yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
I would never talk about Fenris. Because I wouldn't talk about Dragon Age 2.
I'm down with slowing it a little bit too, maybe working out some of those things that we kind of pushed off because we had, things to fight.
Sure.
I had this idea that I wanted to float towards the group, and absolutely feel free to shoot it down. But we're talking about, every episode being essentially like a day in their life, and we went through like the whole season is essentially like
2 weeks.
8, yeah, like a little over, or no, yeah, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So the way Gary Gygax had originally ran his D&D games was one real life day is one day passing by in the campaign. And so the days you're not playing, you have to make sure your character has enough money to survive. I wouldn't say doing something similar in that.
Yeah, but
that
Gary
drastic of a
Gygax played
sense.
like twice a day
Yes.
all week long. You know
Yes,
what
it
I
was
mean?
also his living. But we could do something similar as far as like travel goes, because as far as we know, we're marked by a large, powerful dragon and need to move.
So I mean, again, it sounds like you guys are okay with the continued fast pace, but you might also be interested in exploring something else. I guess for my part, I could offer you a slightly different scenario. The first season was about hunting down a dragon. I think the second season could be the dragon is hunting you, and you don't know about it. You don't know what their machinations and plans are. All we know is that Lord Ortholax is involved in banking in the capital of the Empire, which is, I mean, and we only know that as players, not as characters. So
Right.
their
That sounds like
schemes, as
fun.
it becomes apparent, may take some time to reach fruition, to trap you in a corner. So it might be you simply spend some time, maybe you go to the Empire and you answer the Emperor's call asking you if you want to become dragon killers, or you ignore it. Maybe you go to one of your homelands. Maybe you just got a lot of money. You could just vacation and tour for a while.
Each episode.
I mean, we haven't really covered it, but the Bard has not published any papers yet. She's published her original thesis that got her through the door at the College of Lore. She's got songs to sing on behalf of a certain satyr. I'm not going to hold you to that, but you could if you wanted to. You have research that you want to do about past heroes, like visiting their tombs or recreating their travels could easily be something to occupy your time while I have the dragon slowly hunt all of you. And
So-
of
Yes.
course, Sparky and Sparky's Drake Warden need to do dragony stuff. They also have their own individual set of goals that are not entirely clear right now.
Speaking from a purely storytelling perspective, if you consider this story arc as the 3-act play, basically, do you see that we are now going into the second act?
Listen, I wrote Ortholaxin just in case I made a GM prep video where I was like, all right.
I watched it.
Okay.
And you talked about
then
the fact
that at the end I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna have this guy could be there at the end and hunt them. Like
Yeah.
that was all anticipated, but that was it. I haven't done any GM prep since then. I will probably do another one. Is this the second act? Is it the third act? I don't know, James. For me, this is the second act because I made the first act. The first act was you kill a dragon. The second act
So-
is the dragon's brother is very, very upset and is now hunting you down.
When I did film school, we spent a lot of time focused on the film Jaws, because Jaws is like the
Yep.
classic example of 3-act play done right, including down to like the pacing of like the moment that like Brody's son gets attacked is almost to the minute. This is the middle of the film, and it stages the transition between shark hunts people, people hunt shark. And I think that I look at what we've done as very much what I think of the first act, which is all about establishing the characters and establishing the threat. And the second act that would then be about expanding upon that threat, like understanding what it actually means, how it affects the people in the world around it, and obviously the third act will be a conclusion of that. I don't know whether that would help in terms of.
I don't know that I contain it to 3 acts because I think it would take slightly more than 3 seasons, but the overall issue of Unash and their dragon blight of bringing in this new wave of dragons to conquer the world with terror could be like the overarching storyline if you all wanted to keep fighting dragons for a while. Maybe get some Dragonbane weapons, Dragonbane arrows, anti-dragon spells.
Been thinking about. It's like, okay, what does Guinevere need to do? What does Kith'rix need to do? Well, what if doing dragony things and research is like, oh, they want dragon slayers in the capital. Let's go off and look at past heroes who were friends with dragons or were slaying dragons. And so that could be our lead-in. And, you know, we're totally oblivious to the machinations, but we're off researching. So suddenly there's a focus on the research, on the papers, on the desire. And it could be, you know, is there a crypt? Is there a tomb? Do we do like a little dungeon crawl episode? Little fun things like that. Kind of like in a TV show, when you come into a new season, sometimes you have a few standalone episodes and you have those little overshadowing glimpses of the larger storyline, and then you get back to the storyline. Something like that.
That's a good point, because I was thinking that in the first season, because of the dragon element and playing a Drake Warden, I got a lot of screen time. To the detriment of some of the other characters, and so I would like it if, you know, until the group knows about the threat of Ortholax, that we're focused on the other characters and what they're about more so than the dragon side. Like we actually, until we perceive the threat, that we try and have the dragon plot as a subplot to focus on the other characters a bit more, so that I don't feel like I'm overrunning the group.
It's interesting because I do feel like we concentrated on the dragons, but we learned almost nothing about Kith'rix.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't feel like you had a disproportionate amount of screen time compared to anybody else.
But it was very dragon based. That
Yes.
was intentional because the enemy was a dragon.
Yeah,
and a part of it was a dragon.
we discussed this in our original Second Zero. We talked about wanting to emphasize the dungeon and the dragon element of the game.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, we can start out looking for heroes who befriended dragons and information like that. I'm not sure where Tanira is going.
Yeah, me
She
neither.
seems intent on not being forgiven. She's wandered into and then out of a soul collecting contract now. It kind of seems like her friends have to drag her drunkenly from location to location. So it's like hard for me to get a read on where you want Tanira to go. You know, we've covered pretty much all of her backstory at this point. Like that, you more than any other character had like a full, your entire history revealed.
Right.
We need the future of Tanira. Does she have one? I hope so, but
I hope so too. But as far as where she's going, I mean, her whole life was that life that she left behind. So I think she's just trying to find a new one and a new purpose. As far as where that is, I don't know. I can maybe make something up or figure something out, but
you don't need
she's just
it
kinda
right
like
now. You
going-
have a whole month, but is she going somewhere?
yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Maybe we can chat back and forth with some ideas because I don't really have any at the moment.
Do you think maybe like redemption arc or character exploration arc for Tanira? Like,
I don't really feel like she wants to be redeemed. Like what she did in that town was for the redemption she needed for what was done to her family. So I think that whole thing is, you know, kind of a wash for her at this point. She's just trying to figure out what her place in the world is at the moment.
Tanira becomes Santa Claus and goes town to town donating gold to orphanages.
Gold she earned
that's
for murdering
that's
people.
before that
Don't be on
whole
the naughty list then, AP.
where I had my like own orphanage, like she kind of really wanted to own her own airship and make that our own airships like slash town where orphans can come and like learn trade craft and whatnot.
That's a
as
very
far as
interesting goal.
where- yeah, because she's a carpenter, she can teach young children how to survive on their own, or get, if they don't want to be adopted by a family or something like that. But maybe just owning a town or a large airship that could facilitate that for her is, I think, kind of the idea that I had at the end of the last season.
I think owning the airship's interesting. I'm not sure you want to stuff it full of rambunctious children.
Especially while we're being
yeah.
chased by dragons.
Which is why I was thinking that the town, and you just kind of use the airship as
I feel like it's the Harry Potter where it comes to pick you up and you're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is the magical bus that takes us to the Hogwarts, huh? Okay.
the magic town.
Yeah.
Was anyone here ever a second ed D&D player?
In some ways, yes.
So second ed,
edition? Yeah.
second edition, yeah. So second ed had the concept that around, I think it was around level 11 to 13, characters got a stronghold. That the concept that by that time players should be powerful enough that they have some sort of base of operations. And I think Baldur's Gate 2 actually put a whole stronghold mechanic into the game at a certain point when you got to that level. So I think we're ways away from that power in the game, but it is something that I've found works well with D&D games, is to give high level characters a power base where they'll actually attract NPCs to their cause as well. Like an airship or something like that could be a sort of a future goal along those sort of lines.
We could use Matt Colville's Strongholds and Followers rule.
Yeah, those are actually really good.
Yeah, which I've owned forever, wanted to use, never had a chance to play D&D since I got it. Too late for
Listen,
Winter's
Josh.
Edge, too soon for GFA.
Yeah, bro, tell me about it.
I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of this season or into a third season, perhaps we can talk about using those rules to create. I mean, you need a bunch of money, or someone needs to gift you a nice castle or something, but you can further customize it, and like you're like, oh, I'll have an Archmage's tower, and that'll, because we're a party, we all live together, but this wing that has the Archmage tower is mine because I'm the mage. And my courtiers come there because they want me to reveal deep arcane secrets.
Someone gives us a castle. Obviously, we clear out the monster-infested ruins and restore it.
Mhm.
Well, I was going to say,
Classic.
because with we wanted to take the show and do like a more focus on the Dungeons and the Dragons, and I think we did a great job with the dragons. But the
You want
dungeons were
okay.
yeah, the dungeons were small, so this
All
could
right,
be
I'll work
maybe like the finale for that one, for season 2.
Okay.
Is a big
So
dungeon
season
crawl.
3 is concentrating on the word "and." Huh?
Yes,
And then
you fight a dragon. We've done that, and
It's just yes and. You just ask me for things, I go yes and. Well, I guess I should
Yeah.
get making some dungeons for you to look for history in.
Yes, please.
James, the thing about ruined castles taken over by monsters is that some noble still owns that land. And once you've cleared it out, they have no reason to let you stay there or keep it for any reason.
that's why we should get the land before we go to the dungeon.
You buy it for pennies on the dollar. Yes.
Exactly.
Well, that's it. We'll do both guys will think, we'll just put the monsters back in again then. No worries.
The monster recruiting episode.
It's like Monster Rancher.
Oh, Monster
Oh,
Rancher.
God.
What a game. What an anime. Just burning specific CD-ROMs so you could summon the proper monsters was so incredible.
right.
You
On the
had the
nose.
right
It's-
Nirvana albums. You could truly bring out the darkest of arts.
I like
And,
using the Alvin and the Chipmunks
ro-
Christmas CD because it gave you the Santa Rabbit.
Folks who didn't play Monster Rancher have no idea what we're talking about.
Nope.
Don't worry about it. It was a different. First off, it was a time where CDRWs were new. Some of the youth may not even know what a CD-ROM is, but a CDRW was the darkest of arts.
I've seen the videos online. They have no idea how to use a CD player to save their life.
It's all right. The youth don't watch this show or any of my shows. It's okay. They have
Youth.
taste.
In my day, we played Infinity Complex on a 300 baud dial-up modem.
My God,
12-line
300
server.
bauds? How could your 286 Pentium chip handle that much data?
Well, Pentium wasn't long after the 86 series.
It was exciting when you upgraded to the 1200 baud. That was like, what a day.
James remembers
Okay.
when chips got clock speed. Once they hit
Ackerman.
60 hertz.
I remember spending a whole day going from shop to shop in Sydney trying to find an upgrade for my Apple IIe from 512k of RAM to 1 full meg.
Well, I mean, do you really need that much RAM? What are you going to run on that thing?
Ow.
And it was a giant metal container that had to sit on the bottom of the computer to add the double the RAM.
Processor? Listen, they're making graphics cards that are bigger than cases nowadays. We've truly lost our way as a people.
Just how we dive deeper into the metaverse.
The forest calls and I must go
Yeah.
So,
hide out in a little
one thing I
hut.
didn't notice until I watched your GM prep video, by the way, AP, was that it was the Empire, not the Empire.
Yes, it's IMPIRE.
Okay.
But it's still run by an emperor. But it's
Yeah.
Empire because I wanted to combine Imperium and Empire in a way that would annoy people.
Is there an opportunity for some more world building or some more world exploration on your
The
part?
emperor has literally called you to the capital to serve him.
Okay.
Apparently you're not going to go there. But yeah, listen. Wandering around the Forgotten Wilds, maybe you wander into an elven hidden valley. I mean, you have a dragon that knows about all of the old great wars from when elves ruled the world because the dragons eventually died out.
So did we
Exactly.
say we weren't going to the
Okay.
capital?
Sorry?
Did we say we weren't going to the capital?
I thought you didn't strictly say you weren't going to the capital, but my understanding was you wanted to go look up some. Well, Lauren did say skip on the capital, go to the tombs of draconic heroes.
We could go to the capital.
I mean, I
and then
agree. I like the
present that.
storyline. I'm invested
pitched the
in
idea.
the. It's not important to us. We're not being paid enough, and we've got other things to do. You know.
We have
Well,
a
I think it's one of those, like, we make our way there slowly over time while doing, other stuff along the way, like, BioWare style. We get to the
All
capital
right,
around Act
okay.
3,
Yeah.
Well, we know Ortholex is in the capital, so maybe that's the ultimate destination for season 2 is making your way to the
There you go.
capital where he
Yeah.
murders you.
Sure.
And then your
You just
ghost
creep-
participate in season 3.
Yep. And then we're gifted a Dragon Slayer's keep at the once we get there.
kitty.
Yeah.
That was George R. R. Martin's line when someone had said, "You're going to kill all my favorite characters in the last book." He said, "I'm going to kill them on the second last book, and the last book will just be about the wind blowing over their graves."
That's ridiculous. He's never going to publish the last book. He can barely publish the current book. I mean, I feel like the book he was working on now, he started writing it before the series. The series made $1 billion and then disappeared forever. He still hasn't finished writing it. Like, that's an arc right there. What a talent.
They get paid, Arc.
He certainly has gotten paid, for sure. Certainly has gotten paid.
And he
All
didn't
this
even have
time
to.
painting minis and scribbling down other ideas, and we need a sensor bar. We need a sensor bar. Show your butt. Go down if you're going to do that.
I don't think you get demonetized on YouTube for cat butt.
Yeah.
Look, AP, at the end of the day, I think we all agree that everything that you did in the first series we really liked, and more of this, roughly more of the same. You know, we've touched on a few things here. I think that we've got a good group, we've got a good dynamic, we've got the timing works, everything. Like find me in any other D&D group that could meet pretty much every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty amazing that with the pace that we could put up.
You definitely should not have voiced that out loud. Now we're in a lot of trouble. You're
We have
now
enough weeks
summoning.
off.
Summoning 2 more seasons.
I mean, it's just
At
gremlins.
least.
All of a sudden, we're gonna have trouble meeting.
So my nurses group has managed 4 sessions in 12 months. So
Hey man, you did a great job with Rogue Trader, and that was pretty difficult to keep that one together. 8 months to do a finale. Well, I don't have anything else to cover. I feel like I have a good headwind for where we might be headed.
Cool.
You guys have anything? I'm not trying to like throw you out here, but
No.
you know.
Where do I find what magic items cost?
If you have an idea what you'd like, let me know, and I'll let you know what they cost.
Yep. Okay.
yeah, there is no cost table for D&D 5e. That they weapon items have a rarity, and the rarity gives the GM a range.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, some sort of bracers of defense or ring of protection, ring of featherfall. Interesting little tidbits like that. Not overpowered, but just little boosts.
A little ring of featherfall for Godric, so stuff doesn't happen.
So a ring of featherfall is expensive, but you can get a feather token, which is a one-use magic item that the first time you fall more than 20 feet, it activates and casts featherfall, but then it's used up. So it's like a parachute.
Yeah,
I like that.
things like that work. Sure.
I need a magic item that can make Arcana checks for me.
You just need someone else to make the Arcana check for you.
Sounds like you need to cross glass into Warlock and then just ask your patron for help. Oh, great keeper of dark and ancient secrets.
More ghosts for him to talk to. Wonderful.
Are you deciding
Actually,
what you do
isn't
yet?
that one of the isn't that one of the Warlock packs? Is the undead?
Yes.
Have you decided, Buzz, are you going to go like artisan or look at forge cleric or?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was going to multi-class Godric, but if I do, it's either going to be Forge Cleric or Artificer. I haven't really decided which one yet. I think
Forge
Artificer would be
Cleric.
useful just because I can then start making magic items for the group. But I like the concept in RP that would come from a Forge Cleric. So for the time being, I'm planning on keeping him just straight fighter, but the multi-classing's in my mind, and I'm not sure. I'm undecided on it.
James has already plotted his full path to level 20 and then the epic stuff, so he doesn't understand how you haven't chartered a course.
I
My
plotted
initial plan
myself to
for him
level
was to just
5.
stay fighter all the way up.
Well, great news, you are level 5, so
I know, I made it. I don't know what to do now.
Right, I'm going to stay ranger at least until Sparky gets to medium size and I can ride him.
I just want to stay pure Echo Knight long enough until I can possess the ghost and have complete control over it.
wow.
Probably go level 3 barbarian just to get the path, and then I'll probably do monk after that. Not sure though.
I definitely, having played a halfling for the first time, I definitely still want to play a halfling paladin at some point with a dog mount.
Oh, you're
It'd be
going
like
to be
Sid-
the Halfling Cavalier?
It'll be like Sididimus in Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Halfling Cavalier was incredible in Pathfinder, despite having small size weapon damage.
One of my old D&D campaigns had an NPC that was a pixie paladin that rode a cat.
A cat put up with that? Gee. No.
Well, I'm good with calling it here.
Well, we have one last thing to discuss.
Oh, do we?
Yeah. when do we return?
When? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
When?
I mentioned that at the very start of this,
I
and then
would glaze
somehow
right over it.
then we got Sunday the 6th. No, that's November. Sorry. Sunday the 8th.
If you're talking January. January starts on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Yes, but I didn't think that. The 8th is the second Sunday of the January. Everybody good then?
Sure.
Yes.
I might have something on the 8th, but I know I'm clear on the 15th. So
Okay.
I'll tentatively agree to the 8th. But if
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know something might
We'll
pop
check
up.
in when we're much, much closer than
Yes.
a whole
Yes.
month away.
I'm taking I'm traveling with my family for 3 weeks in April. So beginning of Disneyland.
Okay. Well, if you're lucky, the whole season will be over before then.
Mhm.
Well, we should mention April again when April is closer than 4 months away.
Right.
Well, it seems as if we have fulfilled all mission requirements. Friends,
Yes.
thanks for joining me. I think we've got a good idea for where we're going. We shall subtract the dragons and begin the dungeons. This time,
And then-
there will be no fighter one rounds the final boss. Just solos them completely.
Psionic damage. Woo!
That's true. You also did a ton of damage. I was sad because I didn't get to do any of my dragon things.
I did 0 damage.
I mean, but the fighter was too hard to hit and then hit harder than the dragon could handle. I was very sad. I need to temper
back of
my
the-
bosses to properly menace.
Well, bigger dragon's going to have legendary actions.
Yes, but it doesn't matter if they need a 17 plus to hit. What they need is
Just wait till I get plate
kobold
mail.
wizard in the corner to cast grease on you so you fall down.
How much do rings of grease not falling cost?
I don't know that they exist. I guess it would be freedom of movement, so a lot, like 20,000 plus.
Wow.
You'd be better off
Well, that-
buying an airship at that point.
Yeah, better off buying a dungeon and then clearing out and hoping to find one.
Then
Maybe
we
we
get the layer actions.
We should buy our own dungeon, put monsters in there, and then charge people to go in there.
Is this going to be the opening story that you all have spent some of your money buying a piece of land from like a noble desperately down on his luck and you are clearing it out in order to set up your personal stronghold before you answer the emperor's call? Like you're like, we need a place to settle down now that we're we're a business now, right? We need a place to settle
That's
down.
right. Let's buy these monster infested woods. And
Of the
I mean,
Slayer's
I'm saying that-
Castle.
I mean, I'm all for us getting the stronghold. I think it's a good idea. I'm down for either we purchase the infested stronghold and clear it ourselves, or maybe it's bequeathed to us when we get to the capital and the
I
emperor
really like
hires
the
us.
purchasing because then you're like, we're going to collect taxes now.
even if we don't like start out, do it, we can like do it a little later in the season. We just like get the plot of land at the beginning, and people are like, "Why the fuck would they do that?" And we're like, "Oh, just wait."
You're making your way to the. Okay, making your way
Downtown.
Yeah.
Depending on how much of a d-bag we want to be,
Yeah.
we can put it right in between that dwarf city and their new mithril vein and tax them on their way through.
Wow. We already know there's no dungeons there. Calm down. Wow.
Listen,
So first
they-
off, why are you trying to disrupt the lives of the dwarves that you work so hard to improve?
I'm not. I'm
Exactly.
just saying that'd be the d-bag thing to do.
basically-
Sorry, Bearded,
They
you're
always-
breaking up a lot.
Sorry, I said they basically owe us a favor.
Yeah, I guess they do to some extent. I mean, they did make Godric a dwarf friend, which is no small thing for an exile. I guess they kind of
Godric.
owe the rest of you.
Well, that's our season right there.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in a month and a half.
All right, guys.
Later.
Yeah.
Have a good
Take
night,
care.
Everyone
everybody.
take care and stay
Have a
safe
good night,
out there.
guys.
Yeah, stay safe on those flights.